palm to the cool glass. The weather was holding up, 30 degrees going up to near 40 tomorrow. In the travel guide, it said that March was the best time for Alaskan hunting because it was no longer freezing, and it was before what they called breakup, when all the snow melted and everything became a muddy mess. Gannon turned and sat in one of the lounge chairs behind him, with his hiking boots up on their bags and hard-packed rifle cases. "Guess we're about to find out," he whispered excitedly as he scratched at his fledgling beard. His son had insisted that they both work on their facial hair for the last 2 weeks. Like pre-tanning before heading on a beach vacation, he had explained, they should already have a semi-lumberjack mountain man look to blend in, to really hit the ground running up here in the wild blue yonder. Declan was jazzed all right. They tagged along on a hunt to Arizona with John Barber for bighorn sheep 2 months before, and it seemed like he had really caught the bug. Gannon was more of a fisherman than a hunter by far. But moving forward, maybe hunting would be something he and Declan could share together from time to time. Especially now that his son was leaving him, Gannon thought with a frown. 2. It was true. Declan was cutting out on him, the bum. He was giving baseball another shot, which meant having to leave Utah. Gannon was sure going to miss him, especially after all the time they'd gotten to spend hanging out together at his old war buddy John Barber's ranch in Utah. Though, come to think of it, hiding out would have been a more accurate term. Gannon would have liked to have told people that he had taken to the desert hermit lifestyle for pious religious purposes, except it was actually pretty much the opposite. Their sudden need to get off the grid had come about because of a floating suitcase full of money Gannon had come across while out fishing in the Bahamas. He'd hardly had time to say finders keepers and thank his lucky stars before the group of corrupt FBI counterintelligence agents it had belonged to had shown up trying to kill him. The problem for them was that Gannon had spent a significant portion of his adult life as a combat-hardened Navy SEAL Special Forces operator. And as he hadn't really felt like being dead just yet, the complications that had ensued from this unfortunate conflict of interests had resulted in the exchange of great amounts of automatic gunfire. Sad as it was to say, more than a few of these up-to-no-good government agents had ended up in the deceased column. Actually, come to think of it, it really wasn't that sad, was it? Gannon thought, since the corrupt-to-the-bone scumbags had thoroughly deserved everything they got. And then some, Gannon muttered as he remembered his sweet-natured old pal from the Bahamas, Sergeant Jeremy, whom they had brutally tortured and murdered. But at least the good news now was that it seemed that at long last all this unexpected and thoroughly unwanted covert combat had come to a close. He had an FBI agent friend of his do a deep dive on the sly to see if there were any cases on him, especially any in the department's top-secret counterintelligence division. The scan miraculously had come back squeaky clean. Apparently, he was both overt and covert warrant-free. It wasn't like he wouldn't still be keeping a sharp eye on their six, but as it seemed the military wing of the corruptocrats wanted to bury the hatchet for now, and ease up on things seemed appropriate. Besides, his enemies weren't after Declan, were they? Gannon thought. Hiding his son along with himself had just been a precaution. And threat or no threat, his son couldn't hide forever. With his birthday in 3 days, it was time for him to get on with his young life. Knowing this day was coming, Gannon had worked overtime on his buddy's weekend warrior ranch to get his son to sponge up every SEAL self-defense trick and tactic Gannon could think to teach him. They must have littered over 100,000 shell casings on the floor of John Barber's shooting range and shoot house. And for unarmed stuff, he'd spent months teaching him a brutal street-fighting version of the martial art silat, which had been taught to him by one of his old crazy Vietnam vet SEAL mentors. Packed now with some muscle and tactical technique, Declan was as ready to make his way in the world as he ever would be, Gannon thought. Moving forward, anyone suicidal enough to sneak up on his linebacker-sized son to do him a nasty, even a pro, very likely might be in for an unexpected new orifice, and/or a plastic surgeon to reset the broken bones of his face. Gannon stared out at the striking Alaskan landscape as some large seabird, a crane of some sort, came gliding across the sky. There you had it.